You are listening to KSG Podcast. This is a short, crisp, concise, exam-oriented, edited editorial for civil services aspirants. In this podcast, we are going to talk about what is Go 111. Source for the content is Sreenivas Janyala's article for the Indian Express. Environmentalists and activists are criticizing the Telangana government for withdrawing an over 25-year-old government order protecting the historic Osman Sagar and Himayat Sagar reservoirs in Hyderabad, which they say will destroy the fragile surrounding ecosystem. Now, what was the government order that protected the two lakes? On 8th of March 1996, the government of erstwhile, that is undivided Andhra Pradesh, had issued Government Order GO 111 prohibiting development or construction works in the catchment area of the Osman Sagar and Himayat Sagar lakes up to a radius of 10 kilometers. The GO prohibited the setting up of industries, residential colonies, hotels, etc., which cause pollution. The total catchment area covers around 1.30 lakh acres spread over 84 villages. The aim of the restrictions was to protect the catchment area and to keep the reservoirs pollution free. The lakes had been supplying water to Hyderabad for nearly 70 years and were the main source of drinking water for the city at the time. Now, when and why were these reservoirs constructed? The reservoirs were created by building dams on the Musi, also known as Musa or Muchkunda River, a major tributary of the Krishna, to protect Hyderabad from floods. The proposal to build the dams came after a major flood during the reign of the 6th Nizam, Mehboob Ali Khan, in 1908, in which more than 15,000 people were killed. The lakes came into being during the reign of the last Nizam, Osman Ali Khan. Osman Sagar was completed in 1921 and Himayat Sagar in 1927. The Nizam's guest house at Osman Sagar is now a heritage building. So the question arises, why has the government withdrawn protection to the catchment area of the lakes? Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao said in the assembly that the city no longer depends on these two reservoirs for water supply and there was no need to continue with the restrictions on development in the catchment radius. Hyderabad's drinking water requirement has increased to more than 600 million gallons per day, which is being drawn from other sources, including the Krishna River. Water from the two reservoirs amounts to just about 1% of the daily requirement. However, officials said the government would continue to make measures to ensure that the water flowing into the reservoirs is not polluted and would not allow unauthorized development or construction. So, what is the government doing to ensure that the two reservoirs are not impacted adversely as a result of the withdrawal of restrictions? The government has set up a committee headed by the Chief Secretary to frame rules and regulations of development around the two lakes. Several sewerage treatment plants are proposed in the area, and pipelines or canals will be dug to divert the treated water away from the lakes. The government also proposes to establish large green zones throughout the area, which will remain free of any development. The committee will recommend ways to create infrastructure in the area, especially the laying of roads and drainage pipelines without causing too much damage. Construction activity will be strictly monitored and regulated. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. To join KSG India courses and to crack the IELTS exam, visit ksgindia.com. You can also get a PDF of this podcast on ksgindia.com. Thanks for listening.